That we're going to YouTube in just a few minutes. Well, I'm on the. All right. I'm already there. Okay, let's work with that and see what happens. Everybody, good evening to you, and welcome to the show tonight, Wednesday, the um, first day of July. Hello there, evangelists. How are you doing? 2026. It's a great day to be alive, and despite all the issues in Jamaica, high stormy, it's a beautiful country. Thank you, Wally. Thank you. Thank you for all the kind wishes and the amazing High Lady favor. Thank you so much. Let's tap and share and make sure that we are all locked in to the show. Now, Miss Dalrymple-Philibert made some comments in the parliament last night that deserve some attention. Before I get to Miss Dalrymple-Philibert, though, as you join, please tap and share. Support the live goals. Send the heart me's and make sure that you are sharing the live. I see where the Minister of Minister Grange, Miss Babsy Grange, is suggesting that the government is going to petition King Charles on slavery reparations. The government is going to petition King Charles on slavery reparations. I think the minister should focus a little more on other things than reparations. I tell you the truth. I don't know about reparations in 2026. I don't know that that make any sense at all. You know, reparations. Anyway, the Minister of here is a report from Nationwide.
Today, we take our mission for reparatory justice to the next level with the launch of a campaign to petition His Majesty King Charles III. We intend to petition King Charles on September the 6th, an historic day. On this date in 1781, the Zong slave ship departed West Africa for Jamaica with 442 enslaved Africans. Throughout the journey, the ship ran into trouble, and the captain kept throwing enslaved Africans overboard in order to claim insurance for loss of cargo. 140 enslaved Africans were killed. The ship finally arrived in Black River on December the 21st, 1781.
All right, so slavery was an unfortunate thing. But what reparations Jamaica can claim from King Charles? Listen to Miss Grange.
So our petition to the King will request that he refers to the Privy Council, the final appellate court of Jamaica, and the three questions relate to A, whether the forced transportation of African people from their homelands to Jamaica and their subsequent enslavement in Jamaica were lawful because such unauthorized removal and enslavement was contrary to the fundamental principles of the common law. B, whether the forced transportation and subsequent enslavement of people of African descent up until 1838 constituted crimes against humanity for which UK bears responsibility.
Well, I can tell you this, that if Kemi Badenoch becomes Prime Minister of the UK, then it won't happen. I think it's a bad idea. And I think that after 65 years of independence, for us to be talking about reparations, it's quite frankly disappointing. Anyway, be that as it may, the Prime Minister is back in Jamaica, and he has been going around opening housing schemes. But the Prime Minister made a very important observation that the system of education in Jamaica is old and creaking. And I really agree with the Prime Minister. I see where the Minister of Education is off to the United Kingdom, but the Prime Minister has described the current state of the country's education infrastructure as old and creaking. The Prime Minister was speaking to the Jamaican diaspora in Guyana last week, again, nationwide.
The challenge with education is that the education infrastructure is old and creaking and cannot carry the population that we need to train to the level of training and education that is needed. So in education, you look at community and the home, you look at educational leadership, the principal and the administration of the school, you look at the teacher and the curriculum, and then you look at students and behavior, and then you look at the plant.
Prime Minister told Jamaicans living in Guyana that education is one of the critical areas that is a challenge for the government. According to Dr. Holness, some school plans have become restrictive to learning.
What we're finding in Jamaica is that there are many school plans which are not conducive to learning. That's number one. We had a thing that we call a multi-class or multi-form classroom. So it's just a classroom with children of different ages and stages by one teacher. That can't continue because of the size of the school and these kinds of things. And then you have the hall divided by like this one. There's no way children can learn. And then the schools are built like bunkers. So you can't really, customize. Collaborative learning can't really take place. It's just designed for a kind of didactic where you are here, I am teaching, and you are learning. So just the ergonomics of it doesn't help, because nowadays that's not how we learn.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister says the government is moving ahead with the construction of modern places of learning. He says the institutions will guarantee higher levels of performance.
We're building new schools with the upfront understanding that we have to turn these into academies with a system that is quite different from the current Education Act to ensure that we get the best quality school leaders in these institutions. The government can't spend billions of dollars to build schools and don't get the results from them because somehow they have been captured for other purposes than education. So I want to make that absolutely clear that these schools will not be run on the Standard Education Act. These will be academies with their own framework to guarantee the highest level of performance of both the students, the teachers, and the school leadership.
That's the Prime Minister speaking in Guyana last week. Now, let's turn to the matter concerning no, before I do that, the Minister of
I'm on my
Education
way to the UK.
is on her way to the United Kingdom, and the Minister Dana Morrison, did something that I find to be very impressive. I have my problems with the minister, but that's for another discussion. But listen to Minister Dana Morris as she is at the airport going off to the UK.
With some private sector leaders and also with Heart. And what's that all about? The UK is one of the best places to learn about apprenticeship, and we're going to change the entire apprenticeship program here in Jamaica. There are a couple countries that have really great programs. The UK and Germany have really good programs, and so we're going to be learning from both countries so that as we're overhauling our apprenticeship system, we actually are learning from best practice globally and then fixing it for Jamaica. So I have people with me from the manufacturing sector, the logistics sector, and the Master Builders Association, because we're going to be doing big things in construction and skills training for construction. And as I go, I have my lovely, wonderful state minister with me. And when you go, sometimes you're worried about everything that you're leaving behind and all you have to do. But I have Rhoda Moy Crawford, the extraordinary Minister of State, and so she will be manning the fort. The last time I had to travel, she did such a fantastic job. She represented me at everything and anything that was going on in terms of information or education. She was just WhatsApping me and calling me. So I know that the ministry is in excellent hands.
So the Minister of Education is flying out to the UK, and the minister is endorsing Rhoda to fill in for her until she comes back. I think that's fantastic, and I will recommend this to Miss Babsy Grange, because Mrs. Grange, State Minister, admitted that the relationship between herself and the minister was fair. Listen to Miss Moy Crawford.
Leave, right, Minister?
Minister, very safe. Don't take too long to come back. But one of the things I'm happy about is the way in which you structure and the kind of support that you have given over the last 9 months. So what you have done, of course, education has 4 areas: education, skills, youth, and information. And what you've done is to expose me to all of the areas. So I have knowledge of how the system works.
What the minister, based on Miss Rhoda Crawford, was saying is that the minister has exposed her to all of the areas, to education, to youth, to information. Commendation, Miss Dana Morris. That is brilliant from you. I really like that. That as a minister, you are training young Rhoda Moy Crawford. By the way, Rhoda is a very nice lady, very, very attractive, nice to look at, bright. And Rhoda Moy is saying that the minister is training her. Look at it.
The personalities, and of course we have good support at the ministry's office and at the regional level. So it won't be difficult to manage. And of course, WhatsApp away or
So Rhoda Moy is the Minister of Education for 1 week, while the minister is away in the UK. Congratulations to Minister Dana Morris. That's the way to do it, to pass on your knowledge to the young people. And I commend that to Auntie Babsy. At some point, we have to move on, and we need to train those behind us to take over from us. Congratulations to the minister. Let's move over now to Miss Dalrymple-Philibert, and we're going to start with a little bit of what George Davis had to say.
Adults.
Here is George
The
Davis.
adults.
Here is George Davis on Nationwide this morning.
The adults finally decided to stand up in the room and represent themselves as adults. May I say thank you this morning to the Member of Parliament for South Trelawney, Marisa Dalrymple-Philibert, for speaking with clarity, for speaking without rancor, and for speaking and reflecting what the conscience of the Parliament should be about, which is decency, decorum, and basic human respect. Thank you, Mrs. Dalrymple-Philibert, for that intervention. Sorely needed. And you saved the day, because it's as if nobody else saw the need to speak in the direct way you did. Desmond McKenzie spoke some weeks ago in the sectoral presentation.
All right, so that's a little muffled, but of course, it's one of the big stories in Jamaica. The Miss Dalrymple-Philibert. Here is Miss Dalrymple-Philibert. Here is what she said. Miss Philibert speaking yesterday.
When I sat as the speaker, and in all the years that I've been here, when I sat as the speaker, I had a lot of disagreements with me. But never has this parliament on either side ever gone into what I have seen. And I make bold to say that this is a new breed of parliamentarians, because never before have we had this type of behavior. I have been the speaker. I have been opposed. We have had differences, but nobody has behaved in the way members of this new parliament has behaved to any speaker. And I'm going to say very frankly, it brings back to my mind the comment that was made originally before the speaker was chosen. A member of the People's National Party had put out a notice. They did not want the present speaker or myself to be the speaker. I'm not the speaker, but the speaker is the speaker that has been chosen. She is the speaker. She is the Prime Minister's wife. Hold on. And I congratulate your member who spoke this evening. She spoke about behavior and the way we treat our women. I want to say it is not a good look for us to treat a female who is a speaker. And I'm going to go further. I'm going to make very bold, because many people have said things and many people have gone wrong. Many people have gone right. But you know, the older members of parliament, I look and I see the present leader of opposition business, who was also the leader of opposition business when I was a speaker. And you just watch his profile. Never before have we had the type of behavior. And I'm calling it as I see. The member, hold on, the member on that side from South St. James, I am saying particularly to her, I have never seen anybody behave to any speaker the way she has done.
Let's pause it here for a moment. 1944 to 1959, the parliament had 32 seats. There were 5 elections over that period, 160 MPs. So what I tried to do was to do a research as to how many MPs would have passed through the parliament since 1944, because Miss Dalrymple-Philibert is saying that Nekeisha Burchell is the worst. You're talking about hundreds of people that conservatively, since 1944, roughly 400 to 500 individuals have sat in the House of Representatives. Almost 500. If you go back to the very first House of Assembly in 1644, then that's 360 years that the parliament would have existed, and Miss Burchell is the worst. So what is Miss Burchell doing in the parliament? Miss Burchell. I tell you the truth. Jamaica became independent on August 6, 1962. That's 65 years old. And in 65 years, Miss Burchell is the worst. This is crazy. Anyway.
And hold on. I want to say that the member, I am not to call names, that spoke just before me. No, I'm not calling your name, but I'm saying to you, although you have had difficulties, and although you have said things, and although I have never heard you behave the way that the member from South St. James as a female has brought into this parliament. I'm calling her out because she's young, she's new, she's female, and we have a female speaker. And if you do anything with the revision, it doesn't matter what you do about the standing orders. The standing orders, if you revise it 1,000,000 times over, the speaker's ruling must always be respected. And in all the years that I've been here, when I sat as the speaker, I had a lot of disagreements with me. But never has this parliament on either side ever gone into what I have seen. And I make bold to say that this is a new breed of parliamentarians, because never before have we had this type of behavior. I have been this.
All right, we're going to get back to Miss Dalrymple-Philibert.
When I sat as the speaker, I had a lot of this.
We're going to get back to Miss Dalrymple-Philibert, but let me play for you something Miss Dion Jackson-Miller said of Miss Burchell. Listen to Miss Jackson-Miller. This is before all of this, to see how bad Miss Burchell is. And quite frankly, I don't know if Miss Burchell is going to remain in the parliament, but
because people are going to come for you.
All right.
And a lot of the comments are going to be offensive and sometimes deeply personal. The only way to deal with that kind of thing, you have to stay above it, right? You can't go down.
This is Miss Jackson-Miller warning Miss Burchell before Miss Dalrymple-Philibert ended her career, because I think that is what Dalrymple-Philibert did yesterday, Miss Dalrymple-Philibert.
Or you can.
Miss Dalrymple-Philibert ended Nekeisha's political career. She don't have any career after this, None at all. I don't see how she can continue serving as member of parliament. By the way, someone told me that over in South St. James, she's not liked. That what you see her putting out is a false narrative. That she's not liked at all. And I understand that the people in Southern St. James are hanging their heads in shame that their member of parliament is the worst. Omar Davis You see what you call, sir? I understand that the people in Southern St. James are ashamed of themselves. There is talk that that's what I'm being told, that they want to replace her. Is that true? Okay, listen to Miss Dion. You love Miss. Listen.
Get personal. Now that's even more important when women are involved, because people have a way of coming after women in particular. Women are prime targets for cyberbullying, for all kinds of bullying, for all kinds of nasty comments that people would never make about men. It's made easier because of the internet, because the internet has given a lot of these keyboard cowards the ability to just hide in the dark and throw toxic waste at women.
By the way, I hear that the people in Southern St. James are not happy with Miss Burchell. Miss Burchell tend to put out these little things about herself, but that she's a singer. She can sing. That all she do is turn up at people's funerals, and when she turns up at the funerals, I hear that the ministers don't like putting her up on the stage because she always distracting and all that something. Is that true? She love go a dead yard and go a funeral ground. That's all she do. And come a parliament, come misbehave. I hear that there's problems over there. I don't know how true it is, but for what it is worth, for your member of parliament to be described as the worst Southern St. James, we don't need to get rid of that lady. For your member of parliament, that is 65 years, you know. Maraj Fowler, in 65 years, you produce the worst member of parliament. What a shame. What a disgrace. What a Miss Burchell, you know, shame. You know, shame, man. If I were you, Miss Burchell, I would tender my resignation. I wouldn't bother go back to parliament. You are the worst member of parliament now. Oh God. Listen to Miss Jackson.
And you don't know where it's coming from. So you have to bear all of that in mind when you are talking about women. So having said all of that, it was really disappointing to see the member of parliament for Southern St. James, opposition MP Nekeisha Burchell, herself a woman, obviously make some really
herself a woman. You know, there's a distinction to be made between woman, female, woman. I don't want to irritate anybody tonight, but a woman, Miss Burchell is a woman. Who is a woman? The Speaker of the House. And Miss Burchell, a first-term MP, is being described as the worst MP. Miss Burchell, your political career is over. I'm sorry. You cannot win any more elections in Southern St. James. And my understanding is that it's only a matter of time before there may be a by-election down there, you know. Because Miss Burchell cannot survive what is going to be unfolding here. Burchell, blunder. Hello, Miss
MP Nekeisha Burchell, herself a woman, obviously makes some really offensive comments about the Speaker of the House, Juliet Holness. Before I go any further, here's a reminder: check out the NAT put on by the Higher Education Talk breakdowns of the issues. The first discussion was about housing. Instead of you uplift a presentation in the House of Representatives speaking in Jamaican, or patois as a lot of people call it, and the speaker shut her down very fast.
Madam Speaker, me get up this afternoon to make my first sectoral speech.
Now that reveals to you who Miss Burchell is. She don't know herself. She don't know her place. She don't know herself. She doesn't regard. And let me tell you something about women. A woman must understand authority. That's how you become a wife. And if you cannot respect authority, you are undeserving of that title of wife. And I'm not talking about subservience.
Asking everyone to tap the screen, share the live, repost the live, and send the heart me's. Keep the comment section very active. Thanks.
I am not talking about subservience. I'm talking about respect. The Bible tells you, say you can't respect your husband. You're not supposed to lead. Miss Burchell have no place being a member of parliament. None. Miss Burchell was elected because of her figure. Not because she offered anything to Southern St. James. That's what they told me, that the guys over there just love looking at her bumper. And she put on these tight jeans and flash herself in the constituency, and the men there salivated and go vote for her. Like, as you know, Oma Davis spoke about it on a stage, that it was sex appeal. Miss Burchell have no place in the parliament. No place in the Jamaican parliament at all. And this is what came out yesterday. That this former speaker described her as the worst MP. What a shame on the PNP. Well, I don't even know. Mr. Paulwell was nodding his head in agreement. I run them to run with Miss Burchell out of Southern St. James. And I hear it going to happen. Southern St. James, your MP is the worst. In 65 years of parliamentary representation, almost 500 persons have sat in that chamber, and Miss Burchell is the worst. This lady should pack her bag and go. Burchell, if you had any decency and shame, you would pack it in. I mean, imagine being called the worst at anything after 65 years. Could you survive that?
Oh, yeah, hold on. Standing orders. And I think you are fully aware. And if I have to stop you again during your presentation, you will not get any additional time.
Now, what that did was to start this entire, I thought, very useful and very important national conversation on the Jamaican language, where is appropriate, where is not appropriate, why we still have all these hang-ups about it. I did a whole video on that. Make sure you check that out. Now, because it caused all of this uproar, right? Like I said, this whole national conversation, everybody was interviewing Miss Burchell. Everybody. I interviewed her on my radio program. She was on TV. She was all over the place. She was giving talk and, webinar at UWI, all kinds of things. Because, as I said, it was such an important topic.
By the way, somebody asked me if I wanted to get Miss Burchell on, and I told them no. I don't know if Miss Burchell would talk to me, but I told them no. I don't want Miss Burchell to talk to me. Don't want her here. Don't want to talk to Miss Burchell at all. Burchell, go ahead. I wouldn't talk. I don't want to talk to Miss Burchell. No, sir. Somebody told me today do you want Miss Burchell to come on your pro? I said no. Don't want her here. She go ahead. Don't want her on this program. Don't want her here. She's a disgrace to the parliament. She has brought the parliament to a low. A disgrace. I don't want you here, Miss Burchell. Don't come up here. Don't come up here at all. Listen to Miss Jackson.
Then no, she did an interview on the podcast called The Fix. All right, little bit of important background here. Opposition members of parliament have been complaining about the way in which Speaker Holness runs the House of Representatives. They're complaining that they don't get enough time to talk, that she's not recognizing them, that she's cutting off their mic, that she's biased. So they have been complaining a lot now for months. We've seen them get angry. We saw opposition MP Dr. Angela Brown-Burke go over and handle the mace, the staff that's in the parliament that you're not supposed to touch, and that set off a whole controversy of its own. But she said at the time she did it because she was frustrated.
Next thing, Miss Burchell will come over here and talk about say, they have rumors of me and her a date. I don't want Miss Burchell to don't lie for me. No, sir, I would tell you, Miss B, I wouldn't date you at all. I wouldn't date you. I don't find you attractive. I wouldn't date you at all. Don't come on my program. Don't come here.
Because she was trying to participate, she said, in a narrow debate, and the speaker wasn't calling on her. So the opposition has been complaining, and absolutely, if opposition members of parliament believe that they're not being given a fair shake, that the speaker is being biased or prejudiced and not dealing with them properly, obviously they have a right to speak up, to protest against that. And I would go further and say they have a duty and an obligation to speak up about that, because remember, parliamentarian them
all right, get to the point. Okay, right. I'm getting text messages out of Southern St. James. All type of
so it's against the background now.
I'm getting all type of message out of Southern St. James. I don't want to talk to Miss Burchell.
In Jamaica, and all these complaints the opposition has about how the speaker runs the house, that MP Burchell apparently then said this. She said, I just think the speaker, she likes to be in control, and that kind of control you can get away with in a marriage if you want to control your husband. For example, you can't control grown people sent to parliament to represent their people. There's disorder and disrespect, but then there's also control because it's not a school mistress and a school mom in a basic school. All right, no. Just no. This is not it. Why would you say that? MP, you need to walk it back. You need to apologize.
All right, so she was told by Miss Dion Jackson, walk it back, apologize. And Miss Burchell said she not walk back nothing. She not apologizing. So she not listen. Right? And when someone like Dion Jackson, who obviously is kind of a mouthpiece for the PNP, well, I understand that she's attending some of their meetings, was promised, my understanding, certain position. When you hear Dion Jackson Miller come out and say to you, walk it back, that is the position of many people. Walk it back, no man. Instead, Miss Burchell doubled down on it. So she not apologizing for anything. And you hear what she fall into now? Her political career ended. Miss Dalrymple-Philibert ended her career.
This is actually disappointing for a number of reasons. I've been watching MP Burchell since she came to Parliament. She's a first-time MP representing a rural constituency, the constituency of South St. James. And she's one of the younger MPs that the PNP, the opposition PNP, has been looking to help to revitalize their side of the house. I've been pretty impressed with her, right? I've been listening to her contributions in committee. I like how she handled herself. I think she's been doing her homework, and I'd earmarked her in a previous video as one of the MPs I thought did really well, from the start of Parliament last year. But honestly, it looked like she got sit down on the PNP side of the house and she catch foot-in-mouth disease, which some of them have. Because why would you say this? And what has happened here is that in this one unfortunate and uncalled for remark, she's managed to wipe out a lot of the goodwill that people were building towards her, all of the positive attention that she had got from starting that national conversation by trying to start her speech in Patois, in Jamaican. What has happened now is that all of that has been forgotten. All people are talking about is that she out of order, she rude, she was out of line. Why did she say that about the speaker? No, just no. Just very disappointing. Now let's be clear. There are governance issues.
All right. Very disappointing. Yeah, so that's from Miss Dion Jackson Miller expressing her disappointment in Miss Nekeisha Burchell. Now, listen to Miss Dalrymple-Philibert as Miss Dalrymple-Philibert ended Miss Burchell's career. Good riddance. Long time somebody should say this. And I want you to listen to...
Never has this parliament on either side ever gone into what I have seen. And I make bold to say that this is a new breed of parliamentarians, because never before have we had this type of behavior. I have been the speaker. I have been opposed. We have had differences, but nobody has behaved in the way members of this new parliament has behaved to any speaker. And I'm going to say very frankly, it brings back to my mind the comment that was made originally before the speaker was chosen. A member of the People's National Party had put out a notice. They did not want the present speaker or myself to be the speaker. I'm not the speaker, but the speaker is the speaker that has been chosen. She is the speaker. She is the Prime Minister's wife. Hold on. And I congratulate your member who spoke this evening. She spoke about behavior and the way we treat our women. I want to say it is not a good look for us to treat a female who is a speaker. And I'm going to go further. I'm going to make very bold, because many people have said things and many people have gone wrong. Many people have gone right. But you know, the older members of parliament, I look and I see the present leader of opposition business, who was also the leader of opposition business when I was a speaker. And you just watch his profile. Never before have we had the type of behavior. And I'm calling it as I see. The member, hold on, the member on that side from South St. James, I am saying particularly to her, I have never seen anybody behave to any speaker the way she has done. And in all the years...
Imagine that. I have never seen it. Never seen it. And Miss Dalrymple-Philibert said, others have been talking about it, and it just had to be said last night. Never. What a shame. Go ahead, Miss Dalrymple.
And many people have gone wrong. Many people have gone right. But you know, the older members of parliament, I look and I see the present leader of opposition business, who was also the leader of opposition business when I was a speaker. And you just watch his profile. Never before have we had the type of behavior. And I'm calling it as I see. The member, hold on, the member on that side from South St. James, I am saying particularly to her, I have never seen anybody behave to any speaker the way she has done. And hold on, I want to say that the member, I am not to call names, that spoke just before me.
Okay. Is it true that Miss Burchell was told to take on the speaker. Is that true? Is it true that Miss Burchell was told to take on the speaker to try to force the Prime Minister to replace her, and that because it is not working, members of the PNP cannot intervene because it's all part of the plan? That Burchell was told that part of the strategy was for Burchell to attack the speaker, and it is backfiring, and now the PNP is found in a pickle because as of next week, you will not see this behavior from Ms. Burchell. Is that true? That the PNP strategy was to use Burchell to take down the speaker? That the broader problem here is that the entire party don't like Miss Holness. That's what I am being told. That the entire People's National Party despise the speaker, and that they are strategizing to disrupt the parliament and force the Prime Minister to remove Juliet Holness, and that Miss Burchell took the lead on this. Is that true? Well, I think Mrs. Dalrymple-Philibert has ended that. So the PNP is going to have to come with a new strategy. But what it has done is, quite frankly, it has virtually thrown eggs in Miss Burchell's face. Listen to
what we have been
Mr. Cliff Hughes opining on it.
seeing since September 3, 2025, where the sitting of this new parliament is bad for the country. It is on a dangerous path that can only lead to the decline in the respect of the parliament. And some members of the parliament, in particular Miss Burchell, the member from South St. James, needs some guidance from the leadership of her party. Where is the leadership of the People's National Party? I noticed Mr. Paulwell was nodding in agreement with Mrs. Dalrymple-Philibert. He is one of the senior members of the parliament now. He needs to have several sessions with the likes of Burchell and tell her in no uncertain manner she is demeaning her standing as a parliamentarian. That's not the way to do it. What we have been seeing since September 3, 2025, where the sitting of this new parliament is bad for the country. It is on a dangerous...
I'm going to pause there and tell you something. I don't know if I will have time to tell you this. It is clear to me that the current opposition, not only Ms. Burchell, is bad for the country. The present opposition, not only Ms. Burchell is the worst, but it's the worst opposition. We have to extend this beyond Ms. Burchell, because I will tell you this. And I have two sons, and I as their father was primarily responsible for their discipline. And if you can't run your yard, you can't run country. And I will say this as boldly as Miss Marisa Dalrymple-Philibert, that it is a disgrace and an embarrassment And it is also a reflection on the leadership of the opposition leader, Mr. Mark Jefferson Golding. Mr. Mark Golding should be held responsible for Ms. Burchell's behavior. Ms. Burchell is representing your party, sir. And you should be setting the standard of behavior for your members in the parliament. And when you caucus, if you can't say to your members, hey guys, tone it down, show some respect to the speaker. You sit there week after week and you watch Ms. Burchell tear down the speaker. Would you want them to do that to your wife, sir? If your wife, Mr. Golding, was the Speaker of the House, would you like that? And when the Prime Minister last week got angry, right, and shouted that Dayton was a bully, Mr. Golding got up and talked about Prime Minister should withdraw. The Prime Minister make out a stone? If I was sitting there, right, and that was my wife up there, I don't know what I would do. I don't think I could sit in that parliament and hear people treating my wife like that. Believe me, tell you something. Me had a thing one pen, me had to do something. Me couldn't do it. I commend the Prime Minister. He's a man of exceptional restraint. Because I want you to remember this, listeners, that every time they insult Mrs. Holness, her husband must feel a way about it. Talk true to me. Every time them look up on her with scorn and disdain, her husband must feel a way about him, man. And Mark Golding sit down in the parliament and he don't say nothing about it. And the man wife. Yes, we separate the roles because we are a believer in meritocracy. And we believe that people are to be appointed based on their qualifications. Yes? And the woman has been appointed Speaker of the House. A qualified woman. Yes, she's the wife of the Prime Minister. I grant you that. That's a different debate that we can have at some other time. But for now, she's the Speaker. You can't go in on own court in Jamaica and behave so. You can't do it. You cannot go into any court in Jamaica. Traffic court, I hear a man this morning on radio say when you go to the traffic court, you better have your money to pay. Right? You can't go in any court in Jamaica and behave like how Ms. Burchell behave and the members of parliament or the PNP. You have to quack yourself in there and the speaker is getting no respect and the opposition leader. Not only is Ms. Burchell the worst MP, this is the worst opposition generally. And it's the worst opposition leader too. Because if the opposition leader Golding, I did not call him Mr. Golding. Well, yeah, let us call him by a respectful name. Mr. Mark Golding. If Mr. Mark Golding had set the standard, Ms. Burchell couldn't behave so. That is leadership. And leadership must take responsibility. Right? You can't diss the man, wife, man. The man sit down there, he's the Prime Minister, but he must have feelings. You think that Mr. Holness to feel away. Every week they might tear down him. Then in the media tear down the man wife. Huh? You saw Mrs. Holness's face last night when Miss Dalrymple-Philibert was speaking. The lady is hurting. The lady is hurting. Right? She's hurting. She's a human being. She don't make out a rock stone, right? You cut your eye after her, right? Yummy head. Huh? Miss Burchell tell the Prime Minister must go give the Duns back cap to his wife. Go give to your wife. What is this, man? And the civil society groups, right? The uncivilized groups. Don't put out no statement against this. But them gone down a crossroad with their hypocrite self. Right? These are the fundamental things in our country. Graduations are being held all over Jamaica now. Young people are looking on the parliament. And this is how we treat our speaker. If it was a member of parliament from the PNP, you think that anybody could have treated former speaker, what is her name? From the PNP. I don't remember her name. The PNP have had female speaker, and they were no better. They were no better. It's a law that we have come to in the country, led by Mr. Golden. It's a law. It's a damn law, and it's a damn disgrace. And even if you don't agree with the speaker's ruling, Mr. Golden's a lawyer. And you know that when you go to the court, you can't talk to the judge in a certain way. You could have never fan off the judge in a courthouse and cut your eye off of the judge. And when the judge and stand up in the court, a bang decks, you think you can't do that in any court in Jamaica? Justice Sykes, any resident magistrate court, the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, can you do that there? And this is the highest court of the land. The parliament is the highest court of the land. And look how the lawmakers are in there behaving themselves. Jamaica, pause, man. Stop. Jamaica, stop. Because we are threading a fine needle here. And if we don't stop, then we may reach the point of no return. All because there is no leadership at the head of the People's National Party. Rein in your people, Mr. Golden. Rein them in. Rein them in, man. Call Miss Burchell and talk to her. Say, stop it. You think you're gonna go in a court, go video the judge? Could you go into any court in Jamaica, take out your phone and video the judge? You think you're gonna do that? And this is the behavior we accept. Not acceptable at all. Go ahead, Mr. Hughes. Let's hear what you have to say on this.
What we have been seeing since September 3, 2025, with the sitting of this new parliament, is bad for the country. It is on a dangerous path that can only lead to the decline in the respect of the parliament. And some members of the parliament, in particular, Miss Burchell, the member from South St. James, needs some guidance from the leadership of her party. Where is the leadership of the People's National Party? I noticed Mr. Paul was nodding in agreement with Mrs. Dalrymple-Philibert. He is one of the senior members of the parliament now. He needs to have several sessions with the likes of Burchell and tell her in no uncertain manner she is demeaning her standing as a parliamentarian. That's not the way to do it. What we have been seeing is bad.
There you go. That's Mr. Cliff Hughes speaking about Miss Burchell behavior being quite demeaning. And Mr. George Davies weighed in on it too on his program this morning. Let's hear what he had to say. Go ahead, George.
Finally decided to stand up in the room and represent themselves as adults. May I say thank you this morning to the Member of Parliament for South Trelawney, Marisa Dalrymple-Philibert, for speaking with clarity, for speaking without rancor, and for speaking
Saturdays and Sundays at 7:30.
What the conscience of the parliament should be about, which is decency, decorum, and basic human respect. Thank you, Mrs. Dalrymple-Philibert, for that intervention. Sorely needed. And you saved the day, because it's as if nobody else saw the need to speak in the direct way you did. Desmond McKenzie spoke some weeks ago in the sectoral presentation at the start about decency. I welcome that as well. Dalrymple-Philibert went even further. Yeah? And it's heartening to know that people still believe that decency trumps everything else. We also thank the leader of government business, Floyd Green, for also coming to the party. Perhaps it is a rediscovery of cojones. Mr. Green.
Well, we're running out of time. Here is what Mr. Green said.
Madam Speaker, I thank the members for their contribution, and I will say that based on the last contribution from the member from Eastern Portland, I am going to cauterize some of what I have to say in reply. But Madam Speaker and members, as we move this motion to review the standing orders, and as members have said, this gives us an opportunity to reset, to look at areas where there may be gaps and to fill those areas, to look at conventions that should be elevated to standing orders and courtesies that should be elevated to standing orders. I remind the members that as we seek to do that, there are standing orders in place. And those standing orders govern this House. And as the member from East Portland rightly said, you do get the clear impression that a number of the members have not read the standing orders and as such act in a manner that is in direct opposition to the standing orders. And let me start on that point. The standing orders gives the Speaker the authority to rule on matters, all matters, in relation to this House. Once the Speaker makes a ruling, you may not like the ruling, you may think that the ruling is unfair or unreasonable, but the Speaker has ruled. And once the Speaker has ruled, then that ruling must be adhered to. Now, there are a multiplicity of opportunities outside of this House to make the point that you do not agree with the Speaker's ruling, to make the point that you think you're being unfairly treated. But to bang on the desk, to stand, to sing in the House, that is bringing the House into disrepute. And it is lowering our collective image in the eyes of the well-thinking members of the public. It should not happen. It should not be countenanced. Saying you want to be heard and you want justice and bagging on the desk after the Speaker has ruled should never happen in this House. There are so many other avenues to make that point without disregarding the rules of the House. And again, it must be clear because the rules are clear. Standing Order 4, the Speaker shall the Speaker shall preside over the meetings of the House, and the Speaker shall have the power to regulate the conduct of
that is Mr. Floyd Green closing the debate. Let's hear a little bit more what he has said.
Business in all matters not provided for in these standing orders. 41. The Speaker in the House is responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the House, and their decision upon any point of order shall not be open to appeal and shall not be reviewed by the House, except upon a substantive motion made after notice. The Speaker is to be heard in silence. The Speaker, after having called the attention of the House to the conduct of a member who persists in irrelevance or tedious repetition, may direct the member to discontinue his speech and resume his seat.
Yes.
I know we say we come into this House as adults. Yes, we do.
Yes.
We all come into this House as elected members of Parliament.
Yes.
That is true. But the House...
By the way, when was it? When was the Parliament going to stop and have these things said? When? Because it couldn't have continued.
Has rules. And when we disregard the ruling of a speaker, we're not disregarding the ruling of Juliet Holness. We're disregarding the office of speaker. And it has to happen. And the member from South Trelawney said it. Regardless of any review that we do, the rules, we will have a set of rules. So those rules must be respected. The other thing that I find unfortunate is that when the speaker makes a point, it is then colored to suggest motive. And it was done today again.
Yes.
The speaker not knowing what the member
listen to this
wanted to ask, not having any idea what the member wanted to intervene on, made a ruling that in keeping with the standing orders, there is no intervention on announcements. Yes, there may have been courtesies in the past. Yes, there may have been conventions in the past. But the speaker has said it is not provided for in the rule book, and that is a fact. And as I read, once it is not provided for, the only authority is the speaker. Now, once the speaker says it will not happen today, it will not be countenanced, we move on. That's what we do as adults.
Yes.
We don't show to Jamaica that if it's not going in your favor, then you can oppose and object and try and throw off the house. That is not the right message that we're sending to children who watch this parliament. Outside of that, the leader of opposition did something that I did not like. He gave the impression that it is because of what the question was that the question was not allowed, when the speaker had no clue what the question was. So the speaker's ruling had nothing to do with the Integrity Commission report, nothing at all. And we must mash down any attempt to link the two matters. The Integrity Commission report, based on the Integrity Commission, who indicated that they send the report to the House. The speaker has said in writing that once the reports come in, they will be tabled as soon as possible. I don't think anybody can think it unusual that we're here today and the report doesn't come and it only came yesterday. But more than that, that was not a part of the speaker's consideration. And we must be very clear that we don't attempt to mislead, that we don't attempt to manipulate the story that is being told, and that we don't further try to ascribe motive and link unconnected things for our own political gain. It should not happen, and it does not help any of us. Finally, the member from St. Catherine Southeast. Maybe I shouldn't even countenance it with a response.
Yeah, leave that alone. Well, there you have it. In a democracy, MPs are agents. The people are the principal. And if your agent is publicly shamed by the referee of the institution, the principal has a duty to ask some questions. And I think Ms. Burchell need to answer some questions. I have 3 for her. 1, Ms. Burchell, is this how you want to represent the people of Southern St. James? Is this behavior making St. James Southern proud? Ms. Burchell, do you think that the people of Southern St. James are proud this evening to hear that you are the worst MP ever in the parliament? Secondly, are you here to solve the problems, the water, the roads, the jobs, or to create drama in Gordon House? Are you a drama queen? Is that what we sent you there for, man? And if the speaker says you are the worst, the former speaker, what are you doing to change that? What's your plan to restore respect to the office of Member of Parliament? I think that we can leave that there. But before we do, let's listen again to Miss Marisa Dalrymple-Philibert. I think it's worth playing again.
And in all the years that I've been here, when I sat as the speaker, I had a lot of disagreements with me. But never has this parliament on either side ever gone into what I have seen. And I make bold to say that this is a new breed of parliamentarians, because never before have we had this type of behavior. I have been the speaker. I have been opposed. We have had differences, but nobody has behaved in the way members of this new parliament has behaved to any speaker. And I'm going to say very frankly, it brings back to my mind the comment that was made originally before the speaker was chosen. A member of the People's National Party had put out a notice. They did not want the present speaker or myself to be the speaker. I'm not the speaker, but the speaker is the speaker that has been chosen. She is the speaker. She is the Prime Minister's wife. Hold on. And I congratulate your member who spoke this evening. She spoke about behavior and the way we treat our women. I want to say it is not a good look for us to treat a female who is a speaker. And I'm going to go further. I'm going to make very bold, because many people have said things and many people have gone wrong. Many people have gone right. But you know, the older members of parliament, I look and I see the present leader of opposition business, who was also the leader of opposition business when I was a speaker. And you just watch his profile. Never before have we had the type of behavior. And I'm calling it as I see. The member, hold on, the member on that side from South St. James, I am saying particularly to her, I have never seen anybody behave to any speaker the way she has done. And hold on, I want to say that the member, I'm not to call names, that spoke just before me. No, I'm not calling your name, but I'm saying to you, although you have had difficulties, and although you have said things, and although I have never heard you behave the way that the member from South St. James as a female has brought into this parliament. I'm calling her out because she's young, she's new, she's female, and we have a female speaker. And if you do anything with the revision, it doesn't matter what you do about the standing orders. The standing orders, if you revise it 1,000,000 times over, the speaker's ruling must always be respected. And
there you go. What a whipping. It's almost like Miss Dalrymple-Philibert took up Miss Burchell and put her on her lap and spunk her. You know, Miss Dalrymple-Philibert, boy, you are really mama. Big up Mama D. Mama D, the queen of Southern St. James. Look at how decent that woman is. I visited with her one day, you know, Mama D, and went in, and she was so warm and friendly. Big up Trelawney, Southern Trelawney. The listeners are asking me to play Nesta. Here is he. Listeners, I play him. Yeah.
So some of the erroneous comments made by you a while ago, leader of opposition business, I'm going to ask House Leader to respond, because he was also in Standing Orders Committee, particularly because I chair that committee, number one. Number two, the leader or the deputy would also like to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
Madam Speaker, I was listening to the leader of opposition business. And I too...
This is Dexter Morgan. He's the deputy house leader to Floyd Green.
I'm looking forward to changes to the standing orders. Because what manifested today, led by the leader of opposition business, was a demonstration of why the standing orders need to be strengthened to ensure that your role as Speaker of the House is not compromised. The leader of opposition business stood in a period that did not allow him to stand and ask questions in the period. The Speaker asked the leader of opposition business to come towards her chair so she could ask what it is that you wish to speak about. He refused. His colleagues then proceeded to disrupt the functioning of the House with a chorus of desk beating. And I think the public should know what happened. So while the leader of opposition business can stand and proclaim himself righteous in his actions, the realities of what he did today do not manifest righteousness. Madam Speaker, more than you. Madam Speaker, you ruled many months ago as to how reports are going to be handled in the House.
You hear that?
The leader of opposition business know about the ruling because this ruling was repeated on several occasions. But yet he stood here and put on a record questions about the non-tabling of the report that he knows will not be tabled today.
Yes.
So this trend, there's this trend, Madam Speaker, where they get up and they pretend like they don't know. They misread the standing orders for the public record. They lower the House in the eyes of the public, which is why I'm standing here, Madam Speaker, supporting the reform of the standing orders. Because the simple rule that the Speaker must be heard in silence has never been accepted and agreed to by the opposition. When the Speaker is speaking, the opposition is trying to cow down the Speaker. And then, member from St. Mary, they come and stand up and claim that they are being abused and disrespected and not being heard, when they are the abusers. And the last thing I want to say on this matter, Madam Speaker, you have been, there is clearly a concerted and planned attempt to, one, compromise the government agenda in the House through disruption. I think there is a concerted and planned attempt to make you look like the villain at every sitting.
Yes.
Where when you issue a ruling, within 5 minutes of your ruling, there's a video out on social media criticizing your ruling.
Oh my God.
You're telling lies. I want, Madam Speaker, this standing order review to contemplate. He doesn't understand how the standing orders work or how debates work, He believes that he can talk and nobody responds. Madam Speaker, I want the standing order review to contemplate the actions that the opposition has been doing over the past several months that is disrespecting you and your office.
Yes.
Because, Madam Speaker, the undermining of the parliament by them is not an undermining of us as individuals, it's an undermining of our democracy.
Yes.
And I am going to suggest to you, Madam Speaker, when you're up there and they're over there saying things off the mic, find a way to turn on the mic so the public can hear everything that they're saying, sotto voce, so the public can know that you're not the person who is cantankerous and bothersome. Because some of the comments that they are making off mic if their family and friends should hear the type of language and comments they are using in the house, they would be ashamed. So, Madam Speaker, I welcome the modifications to the standing orders. And I hope that it will ensure that going forward we have a more orderly house, a house that is more respectful, and a house that facilitates dialogue and the proper functioning of the Parliament. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
There you have it. Member of Parliament, Deputy House Leader, Nestor Morgan. We're going to have to leave it there for tonight in terms of this subject. We could talk a little bit more about it, but we run out of time. I have another matter that I want to talk to you about, and I think I'll take a few minutes just to put it to you before I go to the call. I think that Jamaica's problem, you see, is that the society is suffering from dishonesty. Now, I used an illustration to you a couple nights ago, and I said to you that if you took a $5,000 note to the bank and the teller tells you that the note is counterfeit, and you keep the note and try to pass on the note to the vendors in the market, to the taxi driver you take, the taxi man you take, then you are dishonest. Because the moment you found out that the note you had was not real, you should have let it go. Now, look at how we handle information in Jamaica and tell me if this is not the problem. And I'm going to get back to that, because I want you to understand that a society begins to deteriorate not simply when falsehood exists, but when individuals knowingly preserve and circulate falsehood because it serves political, social, and personal interests. The bank note is false. You know it is false, but yet you try to spend it. The crisis is therefore not primarily informational, It's a moral problem that Jamaica is having. It's a psychological problem. It's a spiritual decline of the society. And so no matter what the government does in putting out correct information, the society is corrupted. And therefore, the correct information will not find currency. Producer, take me to the callers. 28 minutes after 8 o'clock. Let's give them the next hour of the program. Who do we have first? Do not good night, caller. Good night, caller. Hello. No, I don't have any caller. Let me go on then until let me go on then until who do we have? Do we have anyone yet? Okay. So the counterfeit metaphor highlights a profound ethical problem. Why this man not stop calling, man? That we are having in Jamaica. The real danger is not encountering falsehood. It is actually choosing to circulate it after recognizing that it is false. And a lot of people in Jamaica know that the information is false, but yet still they keep putting it out. Tell me what's happening, producers. Let me know if I should wait on the calls or I should go on, because I'm not so sure what to do. I don't want to start something and then I have to stop it in the middle.
Years that I've been here.
Say that again. Say that again.
I'm saying just wait on the let's take the listeners the calls now, please.
Okay. All right. So I'm waiting for the callers. Listen to me. I'm thinking I'm going to have to. Good night to you. Hello. Hello.
Yes, neighbor. Just go on for another minute, please.
Okay. All right. What is happening to the callers? I think that I will have to probably do that. All right. So how do you persist with misinformation after correction? If you have a piece of information and the information is false, and the minister comes out and says that's not true, here is the official position, the problem then extends beyond communication. So the government is not necessarily having a communications problem. We have to now discuss the whole matter of civic virtue. The society is lacking in civic virtue because people are spreading misinformation knowingly, including the opposition. Including the opposition. The government don't have no communication problem so much. The society full of liars. It is a matter of integrity. And the incentives that shape the public's debate. Political actors of any affiliation, media organizations, and even the citizens of Jamaica, they all share a responsibility for evaluating claims before repeating them. How can you have a senator standing up in the parliament talking about Jamaica taking pedophiles or pedophiles? Yeah? And the minister was in parliament yesterday saying nothing no go so. So what is the government to do? If the government puts out the correct information and people are still running with lies, what is the government to do? You have to go lock them up. We are going to have to make in this country lies that threaten the democratic process pay. A healthy democracy depends not on every person always being correct, but on a shared willingness to revise beliefs when credible evidence emerges. If you say something and it's not true and you find out the truth, drop the line, man. Good night, caller. Good night, caller.
Good night, neighbor.
Speak up a little for me, please, sir. Go ahead.
Good night. You hear me, neighbor?
I am hearing you.
Yes, good night, man. What, man?
I am fine, sir. How are you?
Yeah, man, not too bad, man. Me here preach like hell tonight, man, which is good, man. You have got to passion to it, man. We see the problem, neighbor, man. We see the problem, you know. The opposition sit with this problem, neighbor. Sit with it, you know. And he not guide them and he not correct them. Because he's a liar and he not correct them. And he knows that if you go to court and talk to the judge, certainly the judge will all put in a jail for a day or two. and he allow them to keep up this thing because just a policing them depending on neighbor.
No. My point is, sir, that if you go to the bank with a $5,000 note and the bank tell you say it's a counterfeit, show it in the rubbish bin.
Definitely.
That money is not good, sir. If you leave out of the bank and carry that money, go spend it, you're a thief.
You're a thief.
And you're a liar.
That's the syndrome there, man.
Because the bank is responsible to verify the note.
Right.
In the same way, the government of Jamaica is responsible to verify information. So if the minister comes out and say that's not true, let it go now.
Yeah. Let it go. And the opposition get all the details for it in the neighbor.
I wonder if you understand what I'm saying to you. Hold on. I wonder if you understand the point I'm making to you, sir.
Yes, of course.
That the society, sir, is a society that has lost its moral virtue. Huh?
You make a solid point. It's a solid point.
It's a problem of morality. It's a problem of virtue.
Yes.
It's a problem of ethics. The society is full of liars.
Lying. Up to century neighbor, I speak to this girl. She said, "Andrew a thief." I said, "Andrew thief." $trillions. I said, "Oh, every thief $1 trillion. Where you get that from neighbor? I have to go on the JS website and you can get information from.
You know, sir. There was a lie came out that the Prime Minister had 28 bank accounts.
Yes.
They was it the IC who came out to say no? And yet the opposition leader went to the debate and repeated it. That's a lack of integrity, sir.
He should be charged for it.
And that is what the government is going to have to do. The government cannot solve communications in Jamaica by any other strategy. You know, you have to get people to pay for lies.
Yes, pay for lies.
In other words, sir, hold on. You cannot be in a theater with thousands of people and shout fire, and there is no fire. You're endangering the lives of the people.
Definitely, it's going to be a stampede.
Thank you. So the fact of the matter, sir, is that the problem we are having in Jamaica is not that the government's communication is necessarily weak. It is that the society is corrupt. The society has lost its moral virtue, and the opposition itself is not credible. It runs on lies, sir. If the minister comes out, if Statin is the institution that we depend on to give us the data. And if Statin come out and say, this is the employment rate, how you going to say Anosaigo? If Statin comes out and say, murders are down by this amount, how you figure come out and say, no, Anosaigo? You know, sister, you are creating mischief in the society, sir.
Public mischief, they need to let lock up. You need to let lock up. Never. These people just look at life into a political way. Because I've heard the same opposition telling the lie. Him seeing one where they asked him question that they said he could have accepted the people that coming in the country. And then it's the same one go there demonstrating now. This man is flip-flop when it suit him, two out. No matter what is going on here, but this man don't tell him people say, curve it, calm down. That's the Prime Minister wife. You're talking to up there, and not even to the Prime Minister wife because she's in Parliament as an elected official. But that's somebody who controls the house. She's the judge of the day in the house. And this man don't do nothing because if interacting them have to stop. But what I found out with him neighbor, I sit down and I listen, I look into some things in a neighbor. We have a kind of a Down syndrome within us that we continue to do the things we do there daily. Certain nations have certain kind of Down syndrome in their blood. That man have seen Down syndrome, watch we fight and cut each other throat. Forget his way to go and pick up the cookie jar when we busy fighting. You understand? So this man don't care if we kill each other. He not try to stop. None of us from fight. While we are fighting on this track with one another and on this track we self. He walk through and pick up the cookie jar. And temple left we fighting same way. So when we don't fight and realize the cookie jar is not there, that's it that we are come to full senses. It's gone. So what we fighting for? Him not stopping them. Him give them the trend and they're okay to tear down each other. And it is really bad. This is the worst opposition we ever seen in my life of 54 years, or 50 going 55 years. The worst. We never seen all of. I've no MP them in the parliament and them burn and tear, but nobody disrespect each other.
Yes.
And that's why people when politics, they used to say, oh, you watch them in the parliament, what if them first and fight them a friend after?
Yes.
But not this one.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel? How do you feel to hear Miss Dalrymple-Philibert saying Miss Burchell is the worst MP, sir?
She addressed the matter properly, no one.
Yes.
She addressed the matter properly, right where square, right where the problem is. Because as I said, it's a target thing. They set out before they go to parliament, and I'm telling you this. It's good people me hear it from the PMP officials and people from the people. They target one and they have their duty with a target in parliament.
Yes.
They have their duty. And then look, when I've seen Chris Brown bring she coming down in St. Mary say, oh, she go and talk, she come give speech on platform for him in a one little. Every ask myself say, these people real? Bring Miss Burchell, come to St. Mary to come give speech.
Yes, sir.
Two loser.
They're ready to give a speech, sir. Maybe they like to look at her.
Two loser. Two loser. Because when you look and listen how that man talk, because what him don't understand nothing about parliament. When I see the day when him going to parliament and bringing people and show off. I when he step in parliament and the lady, and when the old speaker stop him and correct him and I said, no. I'll mean in that position. While the old speaker stop me, and I don't understand, I would sidestep to one of my senior and said, where I start from.
Yes.
But him continue to do the same thing.
Yes.
Turn off his mic. All you have to do is look over your shoulder. There's a lot of senior in the parliament there who know the rules. I remember the old speaker telling where to start from,
Yes.
And him don't want to hear that. So all him have to do is just people, just one moment, just speaker, and just go over to one of him, senior MP in the parliament and say, we new to this, just highlight where we start from. Save the embarrassment.
You said TV man that as Nestor Morgan has also suggested that you feel that this is all contrived, orchestrated, planned.
It's a strategy. Yes, it's a strategy that they plan. They plan it. They know what they're doing because when they come to the parliament and waste the time. Watch me know. This is what I main strategy they have. The government has the objective by fulfilling its mandate.
Yes.
For the election. Yes. All of that need to be fulfilled. So each day they draw out. And each day they push back a program, try to push back something, and carry some little things with jam in between and wedge in between. They already say one point to say the parliament, the government don't meet the objective.
Yes.
And campaign on it. It's a strategy, they know what they're doing. Look, they said one thing to you in parliament, and the next 5 minutes they come out on the road and demonstrate.
Yes.
The same person we are in the parliament just to talk to.
Yeah.
And if you have something to say, parliament is the best place to say.
Talk to me about the protest yesterday. What's your view on it?
The view that protest. That's why I said there's no journalists in Jamaica.
Oh, well, you have the floor now. Tell us about it.
Right. If there is any journalists in Jamaica, first thing from me push my mic at the opposition face. Never ask me. Aren't you the same one we asked about the gentleman by when them UWI here? And you say you don't see nothing when no wrong.
You mean the Jack Den situation?
Right. And that man right a whole page a letter accept that 20 years. They've been doing this.
But TV man, you that's the first question you would ask as a journalist.
That's the first question. Mr. Wheatley has not been charged. Is he been charged yet?
Yes.
I don't see it. I don't know. Well, they have been recommended. They only been recommended. I don't know if him.
No, he has not been charged.
Yes. So how can you want a man to remove from his work because I say something about it?
You're a brilliant man. Oh, wow.
Because so anybody can say anything about anybody in the parliament. And the IC write one people and say, well, I suspect, all right, then we're going to charge him till we can trash it out. Till we can go to court and trash it out.
Yes.
So all the parliament here and now, I'm going to go and then you go sit down, let parliament empty. Because the IC write one thing, say, under the condition that him say, him recommend to be charged.
Yes.
Recommend to be charged, you're charged. Recommend to be charged means you're guilty.
That is true.
These are allegations because me say, you say you fine, and me say me I do, and you say you not see.
Yes.
So, when it comes on the table, you gonna find say, this is how short has been doing.
By the way, I want you to listen this from CVM, and tell me about it because you're a man, a big journalist in Jamaica. Listen to CVM.
So there was a huge protest in Crossroads, Kingston this morning. We understand that
there was a huge protest in Crossroads. Is that true?
Protesting for what?
Huh?
What you want? I gave the two different things. Go ahead, let me hear it.
Yes, this is from CVM.
So there was a huge protest in Crossroads, Kingston this morning. We understand that there were even some members of the opposition People's
CVM is calling it a huge protest. Was it huge?
I just scanning through the phone and see the image and just run over it. But I was listening part of it when he was saying about the Wheatley, and he was saying the Prime Minister saying confident.
No. I'm wondering why CVM calling this a huge protest, because I never saw any huge crowd in Crossroad.
That's the terms. Journalism don't know the context and the terms.
Or is it that CVM? Is it that CVM is pushing a narrative here? CVM wants people.
No, but look here. You know, I know it's a CVM bias, and I push it out. You remember when George were interviewing when the lady there, the finance minister and Mr. Man, they go over there, the finance minister and the justice and the security minister, they go over CVM there. Figure do one little interview and some people like background and crowd with them care going about a bunch of people there. They are cheer on and I try to fling political points blow to Mr. Justice Minister, to the security minister, to Phoebe Williams. Phoebe Williams was in, I think she did turn. She turned up? No, she never did turn up. I think she did turn up. But anyway, I listened to CVM for the longest while and I stop watching TV and CVM. Now, the narrative of TV, if you follow CVM and TV, if you decide to send them,
I agree with you, sir. CVM says that it was a huge protest in Crossroads. How do you mean huge protest? Listen to CVM. Listen to them. Listen to how they bare face and lie. I wonder what is happening to CVM. By the way, as one of the journalists from the nation.
So there was a huge protest in Crossroads, Kingston this morning.
A huge protest. A sprinkling of people, they call it huge. Eh?
Yeah. He's here with the civics group.
Yes. Yes.
Here with the civic. Oh, watch me now. You see how these people are really showing their colors and hypocrite. You're here with the civics group. And when that then, build the building downtown there. And went to check out all we want and do we want to do for you. Come and build the university hospital to get where you want and do what they want. Remember, another time when they're doing it, they're going to show them when they're fine.
Yeah.
No civics group come out. Burchell get up in the House of Parliament and speak anywhere she wants to speak to them. No civics group come out. And these people sit there.
Talking about civic group TV man. Listen to this.
The Integrity Commission in a report recommended that Dr. Andrew Wheatley be hit with 4 charges, including illicit enrichment in relation to his income and assets between 2013 and 2022. The commission had alleged that Wheatley's assets are disproportionate to his earnings to the tune of $164 million. Also among the charges recommended are 2 instances of knowingly making a false statement to the commission in a statutory declaration. In a statement on Wednesday, the National Integrity Action NIA argued that the Prime Minister should apply the same step-aside convention that has been used in previous cases involving cabinet ministers. In a nationwide exclusive live on June 22, 2026, Prime Minister Holness responded to a direct question from Cliff Hughes about whether Dr. Wheatley enjoys his confidence in light of the Commission's recommendation.
Dr. Andrew Wheatley, does he still retain your confidence as a cabinet minister?
Dr. Wheatley retains my confidence in the work that he has been doing in the office of the Prime Minister, particularly in AI and cyber and these other areas. As it relates to the report that was tabled on him, I have read the report briefly. I have not a chance to go through it. I do intend to be briefed by the attorneys as to exactly what is stated in the report. The charges that are suggested or recommended are serious charges. Now, the challenge, of course, is that no charge has yet been preferred on him. So until that point, we will observe the situation.
The NIA has cited several examples, including former ministers Everald Warmington, Robert Montague, J.C. Hutchinson, and Dr. Wheatley himself, who either stepped aside or were sanctioned following allegations or controversies while serving in office. The anti-corruption advocacy group questioned why Dr. Wheatley is now being exempted from the convention, saying the Prime Minister should cease giving him what appears to be special or favored treatment. The NIA also argued that if Dr. Wheatley failed to inform the Prime Minister that he was under investigation by the Commission before his reappointment to Cabinet, it would raise further concerns about compliance with the Code of Conduct for Ministers. The NIA says having Dr. Wheatley step aside until the matter is resolved would help restore public confidence and demonstrate that no Cabinet Minister receives special treatment. Dr. Wheatley has consistently denied the allegations and is challenging the Integrity Commission's ruling in court. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Well, there you go. There you go. TV man. That's a civic group. NIA. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
How much they lose? Where them lose the money then? Right? I mean have some money when do one business. How much they lose? Where them lose the money they encourage that. And them are called illicit enrichment. Because when people hear illicit enrichment, them think I want fitting where okay, and they get 3 million to spend. And they only went take 500,000 spend and take their 2.5 and push it in their pocket. So you can't get account fee because the government money you have and thief. And they say it start from in the government, and that's why they start the word about illicit enrichment and all this damn foolishness, you know. No. If the man can't get account for something, we're not thanking him, no, we're not saying no. He can't get, you know, because I'm listening to something going through the paper where the IC right. And what the IC right up there now, some of the lands of man think the IC can't tell you, like all that a whole list one would have been published, the land them and everything and where these things is. If you go through it, you will see that them don't list these things where they are and how it go and whatever and what you know. All them up there, the man say, like in tenant, him no member which part to fight to the tenant. So him have got the tenant have got get the receipt them get back or make the IC go ask the tenant how much money them pay over some tenant was in him building or whatever. Come here go through but I listen one thing with it. I listen one thing through it word to word, number to number. They have 1.8 at one place. They have 490 million at one place. And I mean, I watch it and I go through. I mean, I said to myself, say, when this is the first thing the high see and the biggest weapon he have. Can never trust anybody, you know. Illicit enrichment.
Yes.
Enjoy it, yeah. That's the biggest weapon. Then you will investigate me. You don't investigate me, and when the time comes, you can't charge me. Me, I got court, me, I run out of the country, going away. All of the law food city with them, you know, charge me. But me continuing my work and my duty that the people elect me to do because I see no authority to tell nobody no work when people elect people and put them in a seat for.
Yeah. I have some other guests online, TV man. Hold on a little for me. Let me hear from them.
Yes.
I can come back to you. Hello there, Mr. Dobney. Hello? Hello, Mr. Dobney? Oh my gosh, I'm not hearing you. Yes,
Hello?
go ahead, Mr. Dobney. I'm hearing you.
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Well,
sir.
Great. And Caroline, how you doing?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Dobney. What's on your mind?
Yeah, man, big up TV, man. You have been making excellent points in relation to what is happening and the state of affairs that is surrounding us in the know. And we just have to call a spade a spade. The PNP in the know is really just a smoke screen and a big distraction to what is taking place in our country.
Yes.
And I do believe that the majority of our Jamaican people are fully aware of the nonsense that they are keeping up. When you look at the players in the demonstration, these persons that are talking has nothing tangible to offer to the development of this country. I call them a sordid-natured bunch of people who has nothing to do.
Sordid-natured.
The PNP, sordid-natured people. Because let us accept this fact. If we want to do an analysis, neighbor, of the stewardship of the PNP over the years, there is nothing tangible to show in terms of their impact in governance of this country. I dare declare, comparatively, for all the time that the PNP has been in charge, the country only take backward steps. And what I will declare is that since 2016 to now, under the stewardship of the Jamaica Labour Party, this country has moved leaps and bounds. It therefore means that the PNP has no credibility, no authority whatsoever to seek to misguide. Well, they can only misguide the Jamaican people that they mean good for us. But let us accept the fact that Jamaica represents an organization. And when you look at the different periods of governance under the People's National Party, the company called Jamaica declined in local, regional, and international. It declines in terms of how people see our country. The fact is that under the Jamaica Labour Party, the country has gained stardom as it relates to the performance of Team JLP under the leadership of Andrew Holness. Why then, as a people, should we be distracted by the folly of the People's National Party? Jamaica is at a serious crossroad, but not a crossroad, a serious journey into 2030, where Vision 2030 is now achievable. We are now able to look down the road and say, by 2030, we envision that Jamaica is going to have significant benchmarks that it can be proud of. The reduction in crime, an expansion and retooling of our health sector, the whole issue of job creation, the whole issue of social programs that are going to give back to the Jamaican people, the issue of education being transformed, all of these things, agriculture, food security, water resilience, all of those things. The Prime Minister is seeking to build out areas where the family can feel comfortable in coming outside of their house and finding somewhere. And we're using the Resilience Park in Portmore as a contrast to the stewardship of the PNP and the stewardship of the JLP. They had a dust bowl called a climate change park. We now have a resilience park, something that characterizes the resilience of the Jamaican people and the sterling stewardship of the government in giving value to our people with the use of our tax dollar. I therefore declare that the people of Jamaica must rise up and start to call the PNP for what they are, a distraction, and they are now irrelevant. Currency has spoke about it. The PNP is irrelevant. And all they want to do in the parliament is distract. In other words, they are like bad children in a class of students who want to learn. So the more you can make paper planes and fling them across the room, the more you can create distractions so the teacher has to be focused on you. Indeed, in this case, the Speaker of the House. Rather than dealing with business, the business of governance, the Speaker is there having to try to curve a set of people to behave properly based on the rules of Parliament. Is it that they are not knowledgeable of how to behave, or is it that they are on a pathway of distraction because they have nothing to offer? I think it is a pathway of distraction. And so we have to find a way to call it for what it is, call them out for what it is, and then even to deeply look from a legal perspective at the governance framework when a party is being formed. So if you form the People's National Party, there are some do's and there are some don'ts. There are some guiding statutes. And if the leadership, the members of that party, become counterproductive to good governance for which they were formed within context, then we must find a way to nullify that party, nullify the people, let them go retool, reorganize, and come again. Because I also want to say, when you look at the depth and capacity of the leaderships of the Jamaica Labour Party in the different ministries, and then you look across the floor and look at I call them the mendicants across the aisle, calling themselves the opposition, starting with the leader. Are bright people with the leader I consider a bright man. But the sad reality that he's not using his intelligence in a positive way. Because you can be bright, but you can be really behaving dunce because you are not being objective in your pronouncement. You're not being factual in what you say. You're pushing lies and innuendos as if they are truth. Are you a bright person? Are you an intelligent person? He is not.
Mr. Dobney, help me, sir. Help me, Mr. Dobney. What do you make of what is happening at the Parliament, and in particular, Mrs. Dalrymple-Philibert's description of Miss Burchell's behavior as the worst in our history? That's quite a damning evaluation of a first-term MP, Mr. Dobney.
Well, let us understand, if we want to be political and partisan, our MP from Trelawney is defending the cause of the Jamaica Labour Party, but extendedly and in context, she's calling it out for what it is. The behavior of that individual within context and supported by the bunch of 28 is despicable. It is unheard of. The rule of Parliament declared that when the Speaker rules, you must abide by it.
Why do you think that it was allowed to get to this point?
There is always the expediencies of accommodating with a whole. That if you are going to rebut
if you are going to raise a point of order within context, sometimes outside of the rule, the governance framework of Parliament, you may seek to accommodate. And in accommodating, it gets to a point where you realize that they have nothing to say. Absolutely nothing. And as such, the more it is allowed and it is accommodated to a point, the more we realize that the opposition is putting themselves in a position to be disruptive. That is what is happening. And it is nothing but smoke screen to detract from the real reason for which Parliament is convened, to manage the issues of the transformation, the governance of this country in a manner so that we can become better and better for each sitting of Parliament. The legislative authorities will be putting things in place. They are delayed. They are, in other words, because of what you would want to call bunch of nonsense, taking up the time, the productive time of the people of Parliament or the governing frameworks of Parliament.
Oh.
And Dalrymple, MP Dalrymple call it out for what it is.
Fine.
Not just her alone, the entire cadre of PNP members of Parliament seeking to give no value or just to disrupt and to distract.
Mr. Dobney, Audrey Marks, former ambassador to the United States, now a minister of government, is saying that she's been threatened. She's getting threats because of a lie that is being told that somehow she initiated conversations with the US about third country nationals coming to Jamaica. Although Mrs. Marks has denied it and has provided clarity, the government has, the situation continues to persist in the society. We see even Senator Lambert Brown in the Senate on Friday suggesting that the government of Jamaica is bringing into the island pedophiles. Mr. Doc, if you take a $5,000 bank note to the bank and the teller tells you that it is a counterfeit, and you continue to carry that $5,000 around and you try to spend it, aren't you the problem, sir?
Definitely.
I put it to you, Mr. Dobney, that Jamaica's problem is a problem of values and ethics and morals, and that our society will need to stop and look at the state of our people, because we're a people that love tell lies, and therefore, even when truth is given to us, we continue to run with the lie. How do we begin to solve this problem of communication? Hello?
Yes, neighbor.
Did you hear the question, sir?
I'm not hearing you well.
Oh, boy.
I'm hearing you now.
Oh.
I'm hearing you now.
Did you hear me?
No, I didn't hear the question.
Oh God, yeah, I'm saying to you, sir, that the society is having a problem with values, ethics, morality. It's a society that tell lie. And therefore, even when the truth comes out, the people still hold on to the lie because they don't have no integrity, sir. It's a society that lacks integrity. I'm saying to you, isn't that the problem we're having in Jamaica? Not necessarily a communications problem, but a problem that our people lack integrity.
Well, I've listened to the explanations from the Minister of Information. I've heard Dr. Chang speak,
I've heard other operatives in the party speak, Nesta, Mr. Morgan. I've heard other them. I've heard explanation as it relates to the third country nationals. I've heard explanation in relation to other things, and I have context them, and I've understood that there is a process of a negotiation, that the government is in quotation mark duty bound to become receptive to anything that is going to be of a bilateral nature. The government cannot turn its back on its allies, its partners in national development as it relates to these issues. But what is factual is that social media does give people an opportunity to twist truth to support their own agenda. What the PNP is doing is hoping that they can postulate a particular position that is based on lies and deception with a hope that their people will listen and carry it further. What has to happen, neighbor, is that we have to be critical thinkers.
Okay, I think Dobby's phone is
Dr.
breaking
Chang
up.
says, and I'm not taking it based on face value. I critically assess it. I listen and I do my own little research. And I have to accept the fact that they are speaking truth. The PNP is not like that. And the PNP supporters are not like that. They are going to run with the flaws, the misinformation of Mr. Mark Golding and Lambert Brown and others who really want to put forward a narrative with a hope that as much persons that can run with it to the detriment of our transformation, that's what they want. What does that redound to? It redound to the fact that they mean Jamaica no good. The third country national is a trending situation that Jamaica must treat with, and treat with in a manner so that whosoever comes to our shore, just like how you're going through the immigrations or you're going to another country or coming to another country within this context of the third country national, Jamaica has a duty to perform its own due diligence and ensure that we do not create a problem that we are trying to solve, that is crime reduction. Why on earth would the government be so fool and so nonsensical to create a problem by treating with our criminal population and then invite others? This is nonsense. And if anybody wants to critically analyze that position, then they must understand that the government was elected to operate in the best interest of Jamaica. And that is what I know they are doing. So therefore, we must conclude that any narrative or context coming from the PNP that deviates from this context, this critically analyzed position, then we must realize that they are misinforming us and they cannot be trusted and must never be trusted. Because if you continue to perpetuate that which KD Knight would have suggested in the annals of the PNP, that they are pathological liars, then we must understand that cock more kill cock. They are a set of pathological liars who must never be trusted again. Never. Because we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are misguiding the Jamaican people. And we must come to a point where we form the people's movement against the lies of the PNP. We must seek to nullify them and call them out for what they are. And that's the position that all of us must take, because it cannot continue for too long.
Yeah.
This is a 2030 pathway to the transformation of this country. And we want to understand that come 2030, the referendum on the stewardship of the JLP versus the PNP must manifest itself in the fourth term for the Jamaica Labour Party. That's what must happen. And the JLP must understand that it is an important journey to 2030.
Yeah. Do you think that this journey is being delayed or derailed in any way by the current political environment, Mr. Dobney? And if your answer is yes, then how is the party navigating the difficulty? Because, politics is very competitive in Jamaica, and you will have this.
Well, I make it very clear that the government has to stay focused on its short, medium, and long-term mission. And the long-term within context in the life of the political life of an administration is within the next 4 years up to 2030. The government has to stay focused. It has to have its pillars of responsibility in each ministry.
Yeah. Okay. Bear with Mr. Dobney for me. His phone. Mr. Dobney, where are you, man? Your phone is just chirping in and out. Oh boy. Sorry.
Overall, the GIS, so that the GIS in a very objective manner can reach the population without the information that will give value of what is happening within the grassroots. That's one of the role of GIS. But at the end of the day, we have to fix the agents. The government has to stay focused, continue to do the work that we are truly proud of in the now. Do not be distracted.
Yeah.
Do not be distracted.
Yeah.
The PNP means no good to this country. We cannot be distracted. That's always said, neighbor. The next generation is going to hold the JLP accountable if it is allowed to be railed by the PNP in the now. We have to find a strategy, and it has to be a people-driven strategy in supporting the government and giving value to the transformative mission.
Oh, no. Mr. Producer, Dobney's line is bad. Let's let him see if we can reconnect with him. Jaspit, hello. There, hello, Jaspit. Who is the other caller? Not there either. Okay. Hello, Astute.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir. What's on your mind?
Neighbor, before I touch on as what Mr. Downey aptly used, the sordid nature of the PNP parliamentarians, specifically Ms. Burchell, I want to report some good news first. So Jamaica received the World Bank Group's Human Capital Champion Award for 2026. And people might ask, what is that? So I'll explain. The award recognizes countries making significant strides in developing their citizens by investing heavily in health, education, and the productive capacity of their people. It highlights nations that achieve strong human capital outcomes relative to their national income levels. Now, the metrics that underscores all of this. Jamaica excelled on the Human Capital Index Plus, that is HCI Plus for short. This tracks how well a country prepares its citizens for healthy, productive lives from birth to age 65, including factors like tertiary education and work experience. Jamaica achieved a score of 200 out of a possible 325, outperforming the average for the Latin America and Caribbean region. We are joining high performers like Kenya, Kyrgyz Republic, and Vietnam. So that is one good thing to report, despite the People's National Party trying to let it seem like the Jamaica Labour Party is doing nothing good. We are being internationally recognized by people who matter.
That's wonderful news, sir.
No, excellent news, neighbor. Excellent news. So essentially, they're saying that we are the number one in the Caribbean and Latin America. Number one. After where PNP took us, we were once got seen as a failed state. Technically, I want to say this very clearly. Technically, we were not a failed state, but we were seen as such because nobody expected us to rebound from the place that the PNP brought us. And now we are getting awards. That's number one in the Caribbean.
Yes.
What a wonderful thing.
What a wonderful thing.
Now, I want to talk on something else, but this is probably for another time. It is the Amnesty International report on the TCN program. But that's for another time, neighbor. That's for another time. It's quite a bit, so I don't want to get into all of this right now. So if you do touch back on that topic, which I know it will, because that is what is dominating the airwaves now, I have that information.
Well, I want to hear from it. I want to learn about it. Please talk about it. Absolutely.
All right, neighbor, talk to me, because I run a show in us.
No, man, go ahead. No, go ahead, man. Yes.
All right. Now, Amnesty International gave a detailed breakdown and spoke of the legality of the program, and it spoke on who these individuals are that are being sent to these transit countries. Now, in the public forum, it is said that they are pedophiles and rapists and despicable character people. According to Amnesty International, it is not so. And I'll go into it. Since February 2025, the United States has significantly expanded its policy to send people it wants to remove from its territory to countries that they are not from and have no connection to.
Yes.
While this practice is not new, the Trump administration has been doing this in ways that are increasingly discriminatory and violate fundamental rights. The second Trump administration has so far concluded new agreements with more than 30 countries for the removal of third country nationals. The Migration Policy Institute estimates that around 15,000 people were removed to third countries between January and December 2025 alone, 13,000 of them to Mexico. Many of them have been arbitrarily detained in the country of destination. So, just in case people don't know what arbitrarily means, it means they didn't do anything. It was just a random detention and deportation. The policy is unlawful as it violates the
that is according to Amnesty International.
Yes, neighbor.
Okay. And Amnesty International is a international human rights organization.
Yes, sir. One of the most.
Yes.
The highest, among the highest in the world. One of the most prominent.
And this report came out when?
19th of June 2026.
Okay. All right.
This policy is unlawful as it violates the due process guarantees that people are entitled to before removal. Additionally, in many cases, it is placing thousands at risk of human rights violations in the country they are sent to. Now, I want to pause there to highlight what is currently happening in Jamaica. Now, you have a senator who went into parliament to say the people who are coming to Jamaica are of questionable, are of irreputable character, sordid character, and thus would prove Amnesty International's point here right now, because this is putting their lives at risk, knowing well that most of these people have been arbitrarily detained.
In other words, they are not pedophiles. They are not criminals. They have broken no law. The fact of the matter is that they were just detained, not charged for anything.
Yes, correct. Now, a question was asked: what are third country removals and how do they work? Third country removals send people that the United States wants out of its territory to countries other than their own, even if people have never been there before, have no connections in the country, and don't speak the language. Some of the individuals removed are arbitrarily detained in the country of destination, and many struggle to access independent legal support. All find themselves in an extremely precarious and stressful situation, far from their usual support networks. All right. It says, are all agreements the same? This is Amnesty International's response. This is a tricky one. While some of the agreements the U.S. has signed have been published following Freedom of Information Act requests, many remain secret. What we do know, we being Amnesty International, what we do know is that some of the agreements involve countries agreeing to receive individuals who the U.S. wants out of its territory until they are repatriated, which means them leave and go to their country. Most of these agreements result in arbitrary detention, meaning they do nothing to get detained.
Yes.
Others involve countries agreeing to receive people seeking asylum in the U.S. and allowing them to seek international protection there. Thus, the safe third country or asylum cooperative agreements. These agreements often result in the repatriation of people who had been granted protection from repatriation in the United States. And some agreements, or what has been happening, appear to combine both elements. Now it's also, that is, them either stay in the country, which our Justice Minister said, or they are repatriated, sent home. So it can be both, or one or the other. Are countries being pressured to sign deals? This is difficult to tell for sure. What we know, however, is that these agreements are an asymmetrical form of partnership in the context of mounting pressures created by the U.S. government's abrupt, chaotic, and sweeping suspension of U.S. foreign aid and the imposition of trade tariffs and visa restrictions. Now, to break that down, they're not saying they can directly say they have found evidence, however, like between each individual country. However, based on what has happened and been happening, they are seeing sweeping suspension of U.S. foreign aid, and this is for people who refuse, and the imposition of trade tariffs and visa restrictions. And I'll give an example. An example is cited here. For example, after signing their restrictive third country removals agreements, Liberia, Rwanda, and Uganda managed to secure U.S. investments into their health sector under the U.S. government's America First Global Health Strategy. The U.S. and the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, signed a similar health cooperation agreement. As part of its negotiations with the U.S., the government of South Sudan raised several matters, including the lifting of individual sanctions imposed on South Sudanese government officials, the visa restrictions affecting South Sudanese nationals, and U.S. investment.
We've lost him. We've lost him. Okay. TV man.
Yes. I want him come back to inform Jamaican people, because you see why I tell us that these people are not media in Jamaica. Why this man could have this information, could put out, read it from something, and I never hear at media station, read nothing like this, or put out nothing like this. You see what I'm telling you about?
Yeah.
Neighbor? These people are not media. I can't rate them as the media.
I am back.
All right, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
All right, so that's finished. Is it legal? Hold on. All right, beautiful. The question asked, how are third country removals linked to ICE violence and migration enforcement in the U.S.? The U.S. government's mass detention and deportation machine has resulted in serious human rights violations. Nearly all federal law enforcement agencies have been deputized to engage in civil immigration enforcement. Masked agents have seized migrants, asylum seekers, refugees, and U.S. citizens. Armored vehicles are patrolling streets, and agents have targeted areas near schools, faith centers, hospitals, and other previously prohibited areas for immigration enforcement. Now, I want to point out explicitly and unequivocally, did you hear anywhere there where anybody was a criminal? Or these people were criminals being detained, Neighbor?
Not at all.
Anything like that? Beautiful. The mass immigration detention system has expanded. It holds thousands of people, including families with small children, in overcrowded, inhumane facilities, sometimes on military bases and new state-funded detention facilities, such as Alligator Alcatraz in the state of Florida. What is the underlying issue here? What lies behind the ICE violence and the third country removals? That is the question we ask. This is not only a migration enforcement issue, but the rule of law issue and a racial justice issue, as migrants and refugees are often racialized in the United States. This is Amnesty International, not me. The US government is terrorizing not only migrants in their communities, forcing them to live in fear, but also anyone who is presumed to be a migrant or refugee. So you hear the criteria under which they are chosen? They're chosen because they think they are migrants or refugees. Mass detention and unlawful removals tear families apart, traumatize communities, and waste billions in taxpayer money. Their expansion is part of a broader, calculated campaign to dehumanize migrant communities. The US government's migration policy is rooted in racism, built on false criminalizing narratives and maintained through fear.
Yeah. Leave it there for tonight, Astute. We're running out of time, and I have to give everybody a little time to comment on that. Starting with you, TV man.
I wouldn't mind if you send me that post, send that thing to me, because these are things, as I said, these people are not journalists. If these people were doing journalism work, these people could quell the people in this country that keep on and talking all kind of thing and false information, because they could have said, because all the panelists of them, Andrew Teki, criminals and rapists and pedophiles, that's what the opposition have said.
Yeah, the human rights recognized worldwide group is saying that nothing goes up.
Nothing goes up. But watch me now. But you got to go ahead.
Hold on. I just want to say something. Neighbor, I have like about 15 more seconds and it finish.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Alright, beautiful. So the final question is this. What is Amnesty International calling for? The US government should stop sending people to countries where they risk being arbitrarily detained and or sent back to danger in their country of origin. All those removed to third countries should be readmitted into the United States and provided full reparation. The receiving countries should immediately release all individuals who have been arbitrarily detained and ensure access to a fair and efficient asylum process. Finally, all other nations should deny the US government's cruel and inhumane mass deportation campaign any form of facilitation, cooperation, or tolerance. They should denounce the removals as unlawful and condemn in the strongest terms their xenophobic and racialized impact. That is it.
Okay. So in truth and in fact, Astute, these people really are not criminals. They are not pedophiles. They are actually being treated unfairly.
Exactly, Nate. These people are law-abiding citizens who have been arbitrarily targeted because they are seen to be migrants or people seeking to be.
And in that regard, Astute, the humanity in us should say, if they come here, give them a chance to give them a chance.
Most definitely, because neighbor.
Because hold on, because you know, Astute, there are so many Jamaicans who have left this country looking for a better life in other countries, and they're not criminals, sir. They're just looking for a better life. I'm sure that a lot of these people fall into that same category.
Most definitely, neighbor, and some even worse, because some people were found that they're at risk of being tortured or unalived in their own country.
Uh-huh. Yes.
But I want to quickly point out that I had read before that these people who are being detained.
Yes.
Well, the reason why a lot of countries are accepting them is because of the fear of sanctions and trade tariffs and visa restrictions. So it's not. Right now, because we're in a growing phase. Right now, Jamaica needs people who are skilled enough to rebuild our country.
Yes.
And we cannot afford to have any bad blood or any issues with our major trading partner. 15% of remittances from the United States makes up our GDP. 60%, 68% of tourists who visit Jamaica are from the United States. We cannot afford no sanction right now. So when these non-progressive obstructionists called the People's National Party surrogates come and spread disinformation and lies, it does no good for our country. They are not a viable alternate government, neither are they a competent government. And our history would have shown us this, as our present is also showing.
Yeah. A comment on that, Dabney?
Yes, I have listened to it, and if we become a people that is incapable of managing this third country national, then it would seem as if it is what you call deleterious to our existence.
Uh-huh.
What I've heard, Amnesty International has looked at the thing in a very general way and suggests that this is one of the reasons, the underlying reason why America is doing what they're doing. I do believe that Jamaica possesses the capacity to evaluate who is coming to us and make an informed decision based on a critical assessment of each individual, treating each based on their merit, and give value to it. Because, as has been said, Michael Manley chose to stand up against the United States in the 70s, and we faced the harsh consequences of our economic situations. I do believe that Jamaica is treading cautiously the leadership. They are giving value to bilateral arrangements with other countries. And at the same time, our immigration policies, our vetting, our determination that each individual on their merit may very well be able to make good of themselves in Jamaica. We are a country of choice now. That is what is happening to us now. And I'm sure once opportunities are created, many of the people are seeking to find opportunities. Jamaica is now becoming a land of opportunity based on the trajectory of this government. And as such, I do believe that with participation and due diligence in giving persons, an assessment based on their own merit, I think we can make good of it.
Yeah.
But to arbitrarily declare, like Lambert Brown, who is on his way out and has nothing meaningful to offer to this country in the now, he is making his last kick and trying to put this program within the context of a Jamaican context into disrepute.
It is very interesting though, Mr. Domney, because I think the government would do well to discuss this report from Amnesty to show to the Jamaican people that an independent voice has said, no, these aren't criminals.
Which is what you call a strong point to make.
Yes.
To counter the Lambert Brown, the Mark Golding, and the general narrative that the PMP operatives want to paint. We are inviting pedophiles, we are inviting rapists, we are inviting these type of people to our country. Look here, the Jamaica Labour Party is much better than that. They are much.
Yeah, and I heard the security minister saying that look at what the government would have done over the last decade to reduce crime in Jamaica. It continues to be going down. Why would the government risk all of that?
Listen, it is people who are developing context positions that has no bearing on truth. They want to paint a narrative in the mind of the Jamaican people that whatever this government is doing, do not trust them. If the economy is growing, it is false. If people are getting jobs, it is false. If they are giving out social programs and social support to people as it relates to grants and funding, is electioneering. Let me say this, neighbor, without refute, that this government has demonstrated capacity to care for its people and to do good by its people, truly manifesting the notion of politics, what it is, from the people for the people. And I also believe that as you care for your own people from a humanitarian perspective, you are seeking to give value to a people disenfranchised because they are running from their own country.
Yes,
seeking to find
just as how our people are treated in other countries, too.
Exactly. And we, being Jamaicans, are caring people, regardless of how some of us sometimes behave, but we are a gentle, caring people. And we, as a government, it would be difficult for us to say no. Sometimes people do bad things, but as Jamaicans, as a set of people, we always forgive. We always try to forget and try to see the good in people. That's what Jamaica is doing. And what Jamaica must do in ensuring that we give value to the process is show that we can take the third country national situation and give value to it in such a way that others will be begging overseas, send me to Jamaica. That's
Quite
what
true.
can happen.
Quite true.
Send me to Jamaica. That's my country of choice. I know I might have some opportunities there. Send me to Jamaica. And the logic of it is that we are not going to be flippant in allowing people that are going to be deleterious to our development and the safety of our people, to allow those people to run freely about.
Especially with an improved national security apparatus.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Member Harry? Member Harry? No, I'm not hearing the member. Not hearing the member. TV man?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
You are saying that the lack of journalistic acumen is why part of the problem, eh?
But yes, what is our problem right now? Because when a man turn on in TV and hear some things on the TV and they hear them say, you hear me here? But I bet if they turn on in TV from day one and hearing what this gentleman is reading, I bet if they turn on in TV and they read it from day one and hear all of these things, what this gentleman is reading and what the research has done and independent people have saying about these people, what Jamaican don't understand, this camp that this gentleman is speaking about, whole Jamaican in there too.
Yes.
And Jamaica not get deported to another country.
Yes.
And would we want people to look at how people are dropping in another country as criminal?
Yes.
Remember, some of these people in America work already and start save up some money, and just get wall,
Yes.
Get wall, and I saw them not send some money come here, and sometimes them family member wait for your country, them and go, that then can say, all right, now send some money back to you.
Yes.
Same like some of these people were coming to us, them family member might just waiting to hear which country them dropping, what time them drop, they say, look, see some money there, see if we can start out yourself. Now, if they tell £100,000 come give them here, they can start something more than even when some of these Jamaicans they run around for the whole day, say them and fish like a troll and to get fish. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't mind shopping, people come be business people in Jamaica, while these same Jamaicans have to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So while we are talking about these people, are this and that, they must remember that the camp holds Jamaican too. And the Jamaican are get a little dropping out in Africa, Nigeria, or when drop down so. And we want people to look at our Jamaican.
And some of them may be family members of those who are talking.
Family members, a lot of family members from here who don't know what is going on, they're talking up their mouth. They need to come out and clear the air with what is going on. Because we can't read America hand,
That's
We're
right.
too small to read America hand.
That's right.
So when America said, look, XYX as a favor, I'm not afraid of Prime Minister Fred. But if Andrew Holden stood up tomorrow morning and said, no, we have a restriction with visa right now. We are 3/4 who are a file for live a citizen, 3/4 who the money process already go get picked up. I foolish you don't got on the train.
Yes.
America, you're not getting no visa. I'm going to go look for your people and personally and bring them out.
Yes.
We're going to look for your people and personally.
Sensible.
You can't just hit them. Surrogates them from the PMP.
Yeah.
And the media and these people they call them groups.
Civil society.
Them surrogates them. Let me tell you something, neighbor. Hey, Jamaica fight back here, man. Jamaica fight back here, man. Every day we get up, we have to be fighting to keep Jamaica alive. Every day. This is bad, neighbor. This is bad. Turn down your background there. No. This is bad, neighbor. This is bad, man. We can't fight for keep a country alive. We're a country that where we and our foot parents grew up, fight for put on map, fight for get up right and know that we are shine and are bloom, taking off, hope to stand up where we can float now. That everybody can look on the, I don't hear the media, look what they didn't come and read before. That we get a word. No.
Yes.
You hear the media, neighbor?
No.
You hear the media, neighbor?
No, sir.
These are the things that because they are not journalist media. They're not journalist neighbor. I mean, we continue to say that they're not journalists, they are surrogates.
Yes.
And the prime minister needs to have one information center where people can walk off of the road and come get them information.
Oh.
Just walk in half a tree, put it out of the boundary. Put it anywhere in half a tree, one information center for the government where you just walk off a road and come get any information you lack. And where you not below.
But you know, TV man. The government have GIS, you know, sir. And if you go on the GIS website, you will see the ministers there explaining the things. The information is there.
Outlet. We call it outlet, information outlet. Where you just walk off a road, get your information and go to one seat, go sit down, have your lunch, eat your 2 punch while you read your paper, or your TV, them are broadcast in the meantime, but you have your private, you have era where you can go, you have era where you can go sit here and eat your patty and read your paper. When you come out, you're well filled with information. Nobody can tell you foolishness while these have it a broadcast on the TV. Yeah, man, outlet we call it. And at the same time, we have the people who will lock up, and we will pass the law, lock up the wrong information.
Yeah.
You understand me?
I think we have to have legislation to protect the society, sir. I think the democracy will have to. We have to look at something like that. Not true, Mr. Dobney?
Yes, I said it, neighbor. You know, I had also articulated the whole issue of a retooling of GIS.
Yes.
To reach the grassroots, in every town centers, you have to have information kiosks, information medias. And that is part and parcel of looking at how GIS functions. We cannot be selective. We have to take the information to the grassroots. We have to do it in all the parks that we are trying to build. Put our information kiosk in there. That means if you have a problem, allow every taxes, give them an incentive to continue to promote the truth of governance in this country. Every taxi,
yes,
every parks, every town center. Let the information populate itself that are credible. So when you have a situation with the third country national, you can hear it being broadcast every corner of this country, length and breadth. And I say this, the government also has to also ensure that whatever information it populates, it is credible, it is not half-truth, because you cannot have a situation where the government is found wanting when it comes to information. So what you do is ensure that you do your research, do your assessment before the deal is signed. You ensure that it is people-centric, and it is above board, and it is in the best interest of the nation. And if there is sometimes a decision that ought to be made that is not going to be so much friendly to our in other words, our natural thinking, then the government must effectively market it, effectively explain, and show why. This is why this decision is being made in the best interest of the nation, and you will be able to come to that conclusion in short order.
Yeah, I get the feeling. I get the feeling that, Mr. Dobney, that the democracy is at a point where we are assessing what needs to be fixed, and that we are going to fix it. I feel optimistic.
I do believe so.
And maybe that's why we are having these struggle right now. It's the storm before the calm.
Exactly. So in every situation, the storming, the norming, you have to get to the point where information becomes, in other words, we clean up the airwaves. We clean up where you, in other words, mainstream media nowadays, the TVJs, the cleaner, are not necessarily where we can go anymore. Once upon a time, if you want to know a truth, you could listen to, what was it again, TVJ, JBC. You could listen to Jam Intel. You could read it in the paper, and it is credible information. Now, with the influx of social media and everybody becoming a journalist, there is a plethora of information that are not so credible. And the opposition is leading the way in this regard.
In terms of misinformation and disinformation.
Misinformation. They are leading the way.
Yes.
In misinformation for their own.
Because they have the largest audience.
Well, I don't think they have the largest.
Well, in terms of their base support.
Well, no, what I know is that the base support of the PNP is comparative to the base support of the JLP. But the JLP has a larger national responsibility to ensure that they beat that to the point where they are communicating to well-thinking PNP supporters and indeed well-thinking JLP supporters and those who are not so inclined to support. Because what has to happen is that the government has to build out its credibility structure when it comes
Tell me something, Mr. Dumpton, because I see where you are wanting to get into the podcasting world. What would you do were you given the opportunity to organize the party online in terms of its bloggers and so forth? Any suggestion?
Neighbor, we have to, in other words, you have to make connection with credible individuals right across the social media space. Create the platforms necessary that, like a platform like yours, Neighbor, and other such platforms, you have to include them in the scheme of things, in the mix of things. You have to create what you call a continued populating of the information that government wants us to know and what we need to know. In other words, we can be probing too.
Yes.
Because there is a point where you have to have the conversation, Neighbor.
With yes, for truth. For truth.
Yes, you have to have the conversation.
Yes. And sometimes, Mr. Dobney, when you ask certain questions, people may think that you are being critical, but criticism is a good thing, you know. Holding people accountable.
You know, one of the things that we must understand about this prime minister that we have, Neighbor, you may think he's not listening, you know, but he's listening, and then what you're going to realize that some of the things that we are articulating, he's going to put them in place, because always understand that no one person has the solution to our problem.
Yes,
and
sir.
Indeed, this misinformation problem, no one person have a solution to fix it.
Yes.
So you have to be agile, you have to be reactive, and indeed you have to be in some way proactive.
Yeah.
So
and I'm going to suggest to you, Mr. Dobney, as a member of the party, that the challenge Jamaica has is a challenge of values, that the society lacks integrity, sir. And therefore, when a society lacks integrity, it holds on to lies and it knows that it is a lie. But it seeks to exploit the vulnerable, like the man with the $5,000 counterfeit note. He knows it is a counterfeit, but he doesn't throw it away. He tries to pass it on to a vulnerable higgler in the market or a taxi man at night. And that's part of the problem. If we are going to solve the problem of misinformation and disinformation, sir, we have to get the society to become more honest, to become a society where we value truth over lies. I'm going to suggest that to you.
Absolutely. And the pathways of truth has to be taken by the administration of the day within context as it relates to national development and of what the people need to know. So the government has to take that pathway, and I dare declare that the GIS must be retooled and and broadened in its scope, and there must be mandate. We should not have government ministers struggling to give value to information that the government wants people to know. Mandate with accountability system, the GIS, the Jamaica Information Service, guided through policy by the Ministry of Information to ensure that the right information reaches the ground.
Yeah. Well, I see they have a new CEO. I hope that they will go in that direction.
I do hope.
But then, Mr. Dobney, there continues to be the argument for a distinction to be made between government and the party. In other words, government information versus the politics, Mr. Dobney. because I still sense that there is a weakness in the politics of the party as far as as connecting with the ground is concerned. I don't get the feeling that party central is as connected to the branches as it should be.
Absolutely. Neighbor, we're coming from a time when every community used to have what you call a branch. The area councils, the party structure was bereft with people within communities who are fed with credible information, so that whenever the grassroots ignites itself around government policies, those information would be populated in community groups.
Yes.
Across. I think we're losing that. We need to get back to what you call creating small clusters of people that represents the progress, the objectives of the party, and the information is flowed in such a way through GIS to the arm, because GIS have to operate in the best interest of the party. Within context, the GIS must be the arm of information of the party, so that the information minister is the one who feeds those information to GIS, and not GIS running off on its own within context and doing its own thing. So the government must ensure it hold GIS accountable. The information must flow to GIS, and then the information must flow to all agencies of government, to all area councils, so that when we speak, we are not contexting it in our own frame of thought or what we are thinking. We are giving credible information that comes right from the source. And so these are some of the things that we have to rethink, so that when we speak with one voice. Because guess what? If you muddy the water of information in terms of you have 10 party persons speaking, but they are saying this different things with good intentions, but the information is muddied, then there goes the problem. What we have to do is ensure the legislative frameworks give value to the flow of information from top to bottom, and there's not a process, what do you call it, Chinese communication. By the time it's reached the ground, it's a different something. So we eliminate the notion of the Chinese communication. When something moves from neighbor to me to somebody else, the context change and the interpretation change. We have to guard against that.
I'm out of time, Mr. Dobney. Take care of yourself.
Yes. Absolutely, neighbor, and continue to do this sterling job that you're doing. Jamaica needs to hear the truth. The Hello Neighbour program is doing an excellent job in that regard, and I do hope that those who need to hear will hear, and we will do everything possible in our power to nullify and indeed eradicate the misinformation of Mark Goulding and his clan.
Thank you so much. Listeners, I don't think that we have a problem so much of ignorance. We have a problem of dishonesty. It's called choosing the shadow over the light. Even after you see the light, you choose the shadow. It's a failure of virtue. Ignorance aside, it's a moral failure. Jamaica's misinformation is a moral failure. Okay? And if we do not fix the morality in the country, Jamaicans are dishonest. They know it is a lie, but they share it. You know, there was a video out the other day about some member of parliament. Let me leave that alone. You can't know it's a lie and you share it. Now, it's a moral problem we're having. Honesty is the problem in Jamaica. And I tell you this, when you have the leader of the opposition knowing the Prime Minister don't have 28 bank accounts, but he takes that to the debate stage, that's a moral failure. That's a matter of integrity. All right? And I think that is the philosophical point. That it's not that the society are dunce. It's not that the people are illiterate. It is that they are dishonest. Jamaica is full of people that are dishonest. I wonder how many people would find a $5,000 note on the road and give it back to someone if they saw it, if it dropped out of somebody's pocket. How many people? How many people would see a $5,000 note and see say, other man the pocket it drop out of and give back that person the profit? Right? The PIOJ, Statin, BOJ, media, the fact checkers, they are the ones that test the note and say false. Too many Jamaicans get the verdict, and then they still try to spend the counterfeit note. And liars. It's a country full with, that's the problem of Jamaica, you know. And all of this talk about misinformation and disinformation in a society where the people are not truthful. Not truthful at all. That's not ignorance. That's dishonesty. Plato called it choosing the light, even after choosing the shadow, even after seeing the light. All right? And that is part of the problem we are having in Jamaica. Government cannot change people's heart. Just like how, I don't know if you know the problem of sin. Governments can't change people's heart, you know. Okay? That's not the government's job to change people's heart. The problem is the heart. Right? And so the society needs to look at its values, its virtues, if it is going to fix itself. Because in Jamaica, people run with the lies over the truth. And even when they know that is a lie, they still share it. You make a nude picture come out of Mr. Dobney tomorrow. Who is going to protect him in this society? You make a nude come out of you, Mr. Dobney, and you will see how it go viral in a 5 minutes. And even if it's AI and it's doctored, you let them hear something about you that is negative and see how it fly over Jamaica. That's part of our problem. We are a society lacking in values. Huh? Hello?
Yeah, man, lies and sensationalism, regardless of, people are going to do what they think will give them light.
That is it.
And I think that member of parliament from the West is yielding to the desire to get likes and to build popularity based on nonsense and trying, even if she understands that she's derailing the transformative mission of this country. And that's we must guard against, and that is called irresponsible behavior, and she must be called out for who she is. Indeed.
Yeah.
The clan of 28 sitting on the other side.
Mr. Dobney, a society begins, you see, to deteriorate. Not simply when falls would exist, you know, but when individuals knowingly persevere and circulate falsehood because it serves their political, social, and personal interests. It is true that lies go around the world before truth put on their underpants. The crisis, therefore, Mr. Dobney, is not primarily informational. It is a moral problem that the country is having. It's a psychological problem. It's a spiritual problem. Because if you know that something is not true, why do you share it? Absolutely. You have not stopped to verify it. And even if the Prime Minister come out, I mean, the Prime Minister gave an interview on Cliff Hughes online last week, and people are saying it's still lie. They still believe the lie. So what is the Prime Minister to do after that? What?
Well, let us continue to labor on with the truth. Let us continue to call lies lies, because there's no half-truth. The lies are just lies. And let us, as a people, be truthful to ourselves. And I want to appeal to the PMP sympathists in the now. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourselves, am I being truthful to the cause of nation building? And answer the question. And I will also suggest, neighbor, that I did not choose the JLP because I love green or I hate orange. I choose a party that I believe, based on an analysis and a comparative analysis, the JLP has done better for the country. But I will still hold myself to holding them accountable to due process, accountable to truth, hold them accountable to responsible governance, and I will still call them out for when I think something is not going in the way it ought to go. And that's where we must come to as a people. Stop thinking that if we support the JLP or support the PNP, then we are doing good for our party. We must cut that crap. Start to think about nation building. And whatever we do as PNP and as labor rights, it must effectively contribute to good governance without being a significant part of it, and that our children can be proud of us for being objective and not really subjective to the color we choose to affiliate with. It is something that must happen.
Have a great night, sir. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
YouTube, I'm out of time. Patreon, I'm out of time. X, I'm out of time. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Tomorrow is what? Thursday? Yes, Thursday. I'll catch up with you tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to subscribe to the Hello Neighbor Politics Plus backup page on YouTube, Politics Plus Jamaica. And please, thank you so much for helping us to sponsor the program for tomorrow. If you are mindful to leave a contribution, then the Zelle account is 954-635